What's up, y'all? Henry Higita here with another episode of Across the Pitch, where we are fans of managers who win MLS Cup, but we're even bigger fans of managers who strip down to their underwear and do push-ups on the field afterward. The Ronnie Dyla Derby, y'all, that's on deck for Atlanta United this weekend as New York City FC comes to town on Saturday. And here to help me preview that game is Yousef Ricart of NYCFC Forever Podcast. Yousef, what's going on, man?
What's good? What's good, everybody? What's up, man? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Good to have you on. So, really quick, first question. I brought in this topic of Ronnie Dyla. He's the guy that led you all to your first MLS Cup, your only one so far. Tell me how y'all feel about going against him for the first time this week.
Ronnie, quick question. Has he given his I'd rather win 5-4 than 1-0 speech yet?
We've heard from him that he wants to play attacking soccer, but I haven't heard that speech exactly yet. Mostly right now it's been like, him identifying that there are problems with the squad and we got to figure out these mistakes and that kind of dialogue yet. But I really want to see those 5-4 results. It seems like fun games.
Yeah, right now, so with Ronnie within our fan base is a little bit like everyone is like, hey, you got us our chip, you stripped down, you did the push-ups. It was a moment. We all have a moment. But he said this one thing when he went to when he left and he went to go and coach at Standard Liège. In the intro video, he goes, "Oh, I can finally coach like a proper football ground." And a lot of fans took it as a shot towards NYC because obviously we play at in a baseball field right now. So there's some of the fan base that kind of just like, oh, the moment you leave, you start shitting on us. And then so they're already kind of like a little bit hesitant. But for the most part, you got us a star. Like it's, So right now, I don't think he could do any wrong. Essentially, and beyond that, I think he's on good graces with everybody. Everybody, it's hard. It's like when you guys come up to the Bronx, it's gonna be one of those kind of days where like people might really, some people might cry because there was real tears when in Portland. So yeah, he holds a special spot. I'll say he holds a special spot for us.
Maybe y'all will pull out that napkin of a championship banner that y'all made for him.
Hey, now that thing stretches all across center field, so now no one can miss it.
Gotcha. That's proper. Now again on Dyla, I just want to ask you what were y'all's thoughts on Dyla when he first took over for y'all in 2020, and how did your opinions of him kind of evolve throughout his tenure?
So when he came in to the team, it's weird without having to like go into the context of like everything that happened prior to that. We had just had Dome Torrent for a year and a half, I think almost 2 years, and we were probably, and honestly, I'm saying this with taking my biases aside. This is stuff that MLS reporters have said during that time. We were the best team to go watch under Dome. Like the type of football that we were playing was like Dome Torrent Pep football. I mean, Dome was his right hand man in Barca, Bayern, and City. So it's like he took all of that and gave it to us, and then he left. So then Ronnie came in. Ronnie at that point was the winningest European manager that we've had because he had one with Celtic. So, but people kept saying, "Oh, he won in Scotland," but was when Rangers were in the league. So they kind of gave him that little caveat. But he was, we took him for what his word. He won trophies. So like, all right, cool, come over here and show us that you can win, right? But he got put into a tough position as well, where it was you had to play with the players from the last team, and there was some friction. Like Alex Ring couldn't find himself in that squad, so he left to Austin. We were playing him like all across the pitch essentially. He was playing left wing at a point, and there's Alex Ring playing who was a CDM. Like it was just because he was the captain, and so he had to put him on the pitch. And So it was a struggle at first, but once it clicked, sometimes it was fun. It's just stressful. Rodney is a stressful manager. Like you will once he gets cooking, you're gonna those last 20 minutes of a match, and it's 2-1 or 2-2. You really don't know what's gonna happen because he's gonna push forward to win the match. Like he's gonna put his offense at pressing high, but you're gonna be left susceptible to a goal. So, and funny enough, we actually won a lot of our matches were like 1-0s under him. So we actually didn't get the 5-4s that he promised because mainly our striker at the time was, eh, but then Tati came along and did what he had to do. I think you see that 2021 team, and that's like the um I want to say it's the most optimistic that we had as a team because we weren't good at the beginning of the year. If you go back to the year, we went through a really bad stretch. We just got really hot. Like in August, going into September, we got really hot, and then we went. Actually, it was against you guys. Goody Thor Arnson with that free kick of, he goes and celebrates with the arrow. Since from that moment on, that literally was our what we felt like. Oh shit! Like we can actually do something now. And so it took a while, but once the pieces click, it's nice to watch.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about pushing forward and kind of risking a little bit more. I feel like with him, especially like our fullbacks get pushed up really high, and sometimes that becomes a problem if the ball gets turned over in transition. But the reason I really ask you this is there's a little bit of panic building in Atlanta United fan circles right now because we're 5 points from our first 5 games in this Ronnie Dyla era, and obviously, the other context is that the club has spent so much on this attack, and it feels like the pieces are taking a minute to click. What can you tell us about him? And you've already led into this a little bit, but what can you tell us about him and the way that he works that might encourage us a bit?
I'm gonna say first, you're gonna have patience. You're gonna need patience with him because he's stubborn. If you think substitutes are coming, just don't hold your breath. Substitutes and Ronnie Dyla are like, I don't know. You could probably wait like 75th minute. And you're still asking for your second sub of the match. Um, he's a stubborn manager. He has a way of playing. Like you said, you already talked about his fullbacks. It's like he wants that ball on the wings and then crossing and then coming in. That's how he wants. Like it's not necessarily like tiki taki kind of plays, like Linka plays. That's not his ordeal. I forgot what match I was watching of you guys the other night, and all I kept seeing was the ball gets to like halfway, and immediately is let's go find Miggy so that Miggy could take it up the wing and then cross it back. And I think you guys ran that like almost every single time the ball came up, and that's essentially sort of sometimes how it is. Like if you need to find the outside, and then that kind of sort of develops your middle game. D started up in the wing and then ended up in center, mainly because of it, because he was just like, I want to score, so I need to be in the middle. I think that's what to expect from him is just a little bit of stubbornness, but it's a lot of wing play. You need to have solid defense. Like your two center backs need to be as solid as they can be, and also your goalkeeper needs to be as solid. When that year we won, and then the year prior to that, we had Kyans and Chanel, who Chanel's now is at LAC. Like those two pairings with Sean and Sean Johnson and between the sticks, I think we were maybe like we weren't in clean sheets, but it was just like goals allowed where I think we were like number two, I think that year, something like that. Like you couldn't get past those two. And then if you did, Sean was taking everything. So you need to be able to trust those three in order for your offense to work because sometimes you're on the counter, you're gonna be susceptible on the counter when it comes to him. So I think I see why you guys are probably like stressed because it's like, hey, if it's not clicking on one end and we're leaving the door open on the other, what are you doing here? So is that like a big like what's right now? What would you say is the beyond players? What would be the concern within the sample size that you guys have already?
I think right now, more than anything, the concern is that the attack isn't necessarily bagging goals like we expected them to be. I mean, look, you spend a total of $50 million on this attack and you've scored 6 goals in 5 games. It's not great.
Yeah.
The defense is what it is because it didn't really change much over the offseason. And so I don't think we really expected there to be like a major improvement in that regard. But I think the main issue is that the goals just aren't coming as we expected that they would.
Wiley's still there, right?
No, Wiley was sold
Oh yes, he was.
last summer.
Sorry. Yes,
Chelsea.
because I was thinking, I was like, that would have been a player that he would have loved to have. Somebody like that.
Yeah. He gets to work now though with Dominic Chankwi. He is a
Yeah.
young left back that came out of our academy. He's now playing for the second team, but he trained with the first team in preseason because our starting left back Pedro Amador
Yeah.
was out injured, and he really liked he praised him a lot. Ronnie said a lot of good things about him, and even called him up the first few games when Amador was still injured.
Mhm.
So I think what you're saying, it makes sense because he really likes this guy. I think he's like 16, 17, Chankwi. I don't remember how old he is, but he's young. And so I think Dial has identified him as one he likes. And he's also talked a lot about Noah Cobb, center back, 19-year-old, and Luke Brennan, who is also, I think, 19, and he's a winger.
But I want to ask you guys, sorry. Do you guys have a Spanish-speaking assistant coach, manager, like somebody on the bench is kind of like vocal, but he's a Spanish speaker?
I don't think so. I'm not sure, really.
So, cause I say that because I don't know if you probably definitely know the story because you also told me you were Colombian. So you remember this was Nacional just winning and their manager getting. So he was
Efrain Juarez,
Ronnie's.
that's my team.
Yeah, Efrain was Ronnie's number 2. So funny enough, the way that happened was he literally met him on the beach on vacation, and they was chopping it up, talking about soccer, and he was like, "You want to come work for me?" And that's just how they ended up working together.
What a way to win a job, bro.
It's crazy. So Efrain, when he was with us, he was there in that tenure with Ronnie. Efrain was very crucial with our forwards because our forwards are all pretty much from South America or Latin America as a whole, because we had Matarita for a little bit. But Efrain was very crucial in translating Ronnie, because Ronnie, and I'm pretty sure you've heard him speak, like his English is super accented. So sometimes, and players have told us this, like sometimes it's hard to communicate or understand direction. Efrain was a huge part of that because you needed to have someone there to tell him, like, just for simple translation of tactics, like, hey, if you're not getting this down, all right, we'll work. And then so you started seeing that, like, the players that were more predominantly Spanish speakers or maybe understood Spanish more were going with Efrain, and then a lot of the English speakers are like European guys were going with Ronnie, and that's just kind of how it clicked. So he's somebody who he really, not only call it reliant, but he benefits from having a really great number 2 next to him. So whoever his number 2 is on the bench, he's he kind of leans on him a little bit. But he also comes to you guys with a little bit more experience than he came with us, because he's done now 2 tours around, I think, Champions League. So maybe he has something in his back pocket that he didn't have back then. Like, we're excited to play you guys just because we want to see how that looks.
Absolutely. I mean, his number 2 right now seems to be Kenny Miller. I don't think he speaks Spanish. I don't know. He might. No one on the coaching staff has like a Latin sounding name, so I don't know if they speak Spanish, but maybe they do. I imagine that they do, because there's several key players that, like Pedro Amador, he doesn't speak a whole lot of English. He needs a translator, and you have a couple of other players. Mickey, fortunately, now speaks some more English, so that helps. Edwin Mosquera is one that doesn't speak a whole lot of English, so that's another one that you would need translation for. There's a few others, but yeah, definitely understand what you're saying there. I want to get into NYCFC now. So let's look at kind of their transfer business. They're a little bit busy this winter. Yeah. So first of all, of the new signings this winter, well, I say new,
Yeah.
but here's an old one. Maxi Moralez at 38 years young. He's back for another season.
Yep.
38 goals, 68 assists for NYCFC, and 229 total appearances. Why is he back, man? Does he just age like fine wine?
Yeah, something in that Argentinian ground of, what is it? That Fernet that they love to drink out there.
The mate?
Um, yeah, no, there's like a wine, this Argentinian wine that's like huge. Um, I don't know. He went down there he came back, and then he left to go to not came back, sorry, but he left to go to Racing Club, which is his home team. He came up there. He said he wanted his kids to see him play for his hometown club uh, at some point in his career. So he left. Something happened there. It was never really discussed. I think it's just he didn't. There were no place for him there. So he said, "Come back," and he came back, got injured, and was out. And then so imagine now you're 36, you come back to MLS, and then you get injured and have to then wait another year on the bench. You would think, hey, he's done for, right? Nah, not Maxi. He drank something. He drank what, I don't know what he drank. That mate must be extra mate because he is our linchpin. Without him, we don't go. And it sucks to say, but without him, we do not move. He's played 90 minutes almost since the season started. We don't have another 10 like that can replace him. We do not have another 10. That's just the nitty gritty of it. We did not replace Santi. We don't have even our closest sort of center attacking mid isn't nowhere near the level of Maxi. Within his control of the game, there's nowhere near like Maxi is our talisman, and
He's
at
got too much
38.
experience, huh?
So he's choosing something. I joke around now that he's our Messi but he runs around. He runs more than Messi. Like he plays defense. Like he'll track back and he loves grabbing the ball from like on the opponent's 18 and then bringing it all the way up. Like that's just how he runs. Like it's I have nothing but great things to say about Mac. I want that statue
And
now.
he's a small guy too.
Yeah.
Damn.
He's not a Francesito, but we joke he does a lot of like Spider-Man celebrations. So he's like a little araña. But he's small, and when you see him in person, like you think he's small in the pitch, but then you see him in person, and it's like I know 10-year-olds that are taller than you. Like he's legit, yo. He is small. He's tiny, but that's our guy.
Damn, maybe
Um,
him and Brad Guzan got into the same stuff because we thought Brad Guzan was going to be done
oh
years ago when he tore his Achilles. We
yeah,
thought he was done, and no, he's still here. He's like 40 right now.
yeah.
So who
I thought
knows how long?
when Guzan was out, like officially out of the national team, like when you like realize like, oh, you're not gonna get called again. I thought he was gonna retire that year, but
Still going, man. And
still
who
going.
knows? He doesn't even. I don't know if he has plans to retire yet. But we just talked about the age and the experience. I want to shift over to a young guy, one of your outgoings,
Hmm.
Jovan Mijatovic,
Yeah,
young, exciting
Smithovich.
striker. Yeah, he arrived last season, scored just
Hmm.
one goal in 17 appearances. He's 19 now, got sent out on loan. Is it just a matter of time, a
Nah,
matter
that
of
man ain't
letting him
coming back.
develop?
Nah, that man ain't coming back.
He ain't coming back.
Nah, he ain't coming back. Nah.
So what's going on with him?
So um, like when you meet like like a super Gen Zer that's just super confident but can't do the job. That's
Uh,
him.
he's all
Like
talk.
he's all talk. Like he has a body of a rugby player. People like we all when he came on, he was like, uh, like he was like a Zlatan energy. He's like, get excited. I'm going to score a lot of goals, and he couldn't hack it in the twos. Like this dude has a Rooney body, so he all muscle, like calves like crazy. He looks like a rugby player, and he just could not score whatsoever here. we no one every time he came onto the pitch, we were just like hype or like play because last year Bakrar became our main striker, and that man cannot score to save his life either. So we were just like, play the kid, just play him, play the kid. Let's just play the fucking kid. And every time he came on, he just didn't do anything. So a lot of promise. He's big with the Serbian national team. He gets called up with I think the U19s. I think is that he gets called for. Um, Funny enough, he was supposed to be signing for City, and because of I think it was a Champions League rule, he had like played or been on the sheet for a Champions League match. So for some reason he couldn't move team. Oh, he couldn't move teams twice within the season. So within the confederation, so they moved him. They loaned him out. Technically, we signed him with the promise that really he was supposed to go to City down the road, like to Girona somewhere. But he just didn't hack it. So now he's over there, back home. He was one of those like Eastern European guys who just missed home. So nothing too big on him really.
But not really working for NYCFC. So probably not in the future plans.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think it worked out. I think it's just he's out on loan, and then we'll stay on loan until his contract runs out. We can sell him.
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate, but let's look at what NYCFC has right now. So far in 2025, 2-2-1, 8th in the East with 8 points in 5 games. What are your thoughts on the team's performances so far?
We have a new manager in Pascal Jansen, who is becoming now like a cult hero in his short time because he loves New York. So he loves New York hip hop. He loves New York actors. For some reason, he just knows all about New York. He's also was Arne Slot's assistant manager at PSV right before he was getting recruited. So when he left to be Liverpool's manager, Jansen stepped up, and then he left to go to AZ and was there for 4 years. He brings a very specific. You could tell like we're gonna play really, really fun football once we have players that can play his style. But you see like you know how the saying like I see the vision, like I see the vision. I see what he wants to do. So we're giving him the grace of like, you see how you guys are worried about Dyla? Like we're not worrying right now because we just know our team is not 100%. Like we don't really have a striker, even though we have Alonso who's scoring. We need a 10. We need a CDM. We need swingers. We need players. You're gonna see this on Saturday. Like our depth is not there, but the vision and what the style that he wants to present, we're all in. We bought in 100%. Until he gives us a reason to not buy in, we're all in. So the team right now is just learning a new system. You know, we've been playing the CFG style of play for so long that it's just ingrained in the way that some of the players play. Like first is like Maxi, who's been here since 2016, if I remember correctly. Like he just knows one way that we play, and it's out the back, through the middle, link up plays, and that's changing now with Pascal. So there's a growth. We're allowing the growth moment to just allow to happen. Like we're not really worried, but we're also like, hey, like front office, give us our players because we need them.
Let's look at your predicted lineup, actually. So walk me through this predicted 11 and highlight for me some of the key players we got to look out for.
Gotcha. All right, so real quick, so we will go from the back. So Matt Freeze, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If you cannot get on target, like if you cannot get past him, like on a curler, you're not getting. Like if you can't juke him or fake him out, you're not gonna get past him. Columbus put like 20-something shots on us last week, 0-0. Matt Freeze, I'll tell you right now, we stand on this. If Matt Freeze would have been called up to that national team match against and then played in Panama, he saved that ball. Matt Freeze is, he is such a confident goalkeeper. He stole the number 1 spot from Luis Barraza last year. So solid there. Remember what I said? We play a lot, like we want that triangle to be solid. With Freeze, we're good. Martins is our captain right now. So the reason only having Risa there is because he's been injured lately, but Parks may not start this Saturday, so Hack can't slot back in there, so he needs to play in the mid. But that's just that back line. Essentially, it's our starting back line. Um, Solid. Like we're Risa and Martins have a good pairing. They understand each other. Risa could be a little bit iffy sometimes, but it's solid. Like none, they're solid. Jonathan Shore, a 17-year-old star in the making. You know how Cole Palmer, like they say that he plays like he's a little not necessarily all there, so he plays free. Shore is like he's benefiting from the ignorance of being young. Like he put so Pascal against Miami in the first match puts him in halftime, and he goes in on Messi like if it's nothing, like just nothing. And it was just like, yeah, that's you could tell that that's just a young kid that doesn't understand. Like I'm going against the best player in the world. But he's solid. So Justin, Jonathan, and Shore, they play the pivot, so that's essentially how they're gonna go back up and down. Maxi, like I said, he's a talisman. How he goes, we go. Ojeda, he's another young guy. He comes from Racing Club also, and he actually was a very promising player from their academy, and then he was playing Libertadores right before he signed for us. I think he was in the match right before he got on the plane. Um, Quick, but hasn't really shown us that he can play at this level somehow, which is weird because in Argentina he was getting ready to like getting scouted to Europe. But when he plays here, he doesn't necessarily like. You can see the speed, you can see the skills, but you don't see sort of the determination to elevate. If that makes any sense, he just seems like he's like okay with coasting, which is a little worrying. Hans Wolf, he's the guy that kind of I want to see in the middle. He's a Bundesliga player through and through. Like he's skillful. I think he's on his day. He's probably can be the best player on the field, but he lacks this something that like one of his one on ones are horrible. Like he's horrible 1v1, horrible. But he's great on the ball with his touch is amazing. He can cross the ball like you know again he's playing Bundesliga right before he was just injured, so he couldn't really get into the match or get into the first team. And Alonso Martinez is I think he's gonna score probably like 23 goals this year. He is dude, when you have when you see somebody who has a just a natural gift for scoring, that's Alonso
Yeah.
right there.
The
Like
smell of goal, like he's feeling it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, like when he was Costa Rica, I think he had 2 assists and a goal over the break. Like he was playing in Europe. I don't know what happened why he couldn't really like break in or break out over there, but we're thinking that, or at least I am, that he's our next Tati. So I think the team is going to treat him like Tati because he is a winger. He's not a striker. He is a winger, but we're forcing him to be in the middle because he's right now the only one that can score for us. When him and Maxi link up, it's really fun because he knows how to make runs and he he can play off the shoulder. He can come back and do hold the play. Like he's I would say he's kind of like our most complete player right now. See if he can smell space, man, he's Guzan might be in trouble because he has power. He has accuracy. He can get up, like, and he's not afraid of also dishing it out. So if someone is in the box, he can also provide as well. So like Alonso's, he's our more, like I said, our most complete player. And then that's our 11. I think it's a competitive 11 against you guys. I'm just always worried. I'm just worried because it's just we're injured right now. Our depth is just not there. So that's the only problem. That's what my only worry. I
But
think
that's a
I
solid
could.
starting 11, to be honest. And
It
what you
is.
said about Alonso Martinez, him running into space, that's going to be very valuable for you guys, because look, our center backs are decent. Like they're pretty good one on one. The problem is that this team has sometimes left some gaps at the back, especially on set pieces. That's where we've been burned a lot on set pieces. So that could be an area for you guys, and it could be an area for him to shine. Really, it seems to me.
Hmm. I think if we're not really good on set pieces. Funny enough, under Ronnie, and a little bit at the end of Dome, we like our set piecing, our set piece. I forgot who was our set piece coach. It's like every week we were score like we actually had like a little bit of a plan, and then it went to shit. We also struggle in like the last 15 to 20 minutes. Like we give up a lot of goals in the last 20 minutes. We could have gotten 3 points in Miami, and they scored in the like 90 something whatever minute. LA, same thing. Like we could have gotten a draw out in LA, and then we let them score at the end of the match. I don't know if it's out of tiredness early on, or just out of sort of just they disappear. But it's just been like our MO lately, where we let teams in too much late into the match, and it sparks them up a little bit, and allows them to score. Which we're hoping it doesn't happen, because honestly, I rate that's the latte guy that you guys got. I rate him a lot. So if he finds himself in space late if he's still there late, that could be a problem for us.
That's a huge similarity between y'all and Atlanta so far, is that we have started games really, really, really well, and then like second half performance and really towards the end is where we've really kind of given games away. We were leading Cincinnati and then we let that game slip, and then the same thing happened against Miami, and it was two really, really stupid goals, and then the last one to lose it was in extra time. It was in I was like 90 plus 8, 7, something like that. And it was a frustrating way to lose the game, but that's what happens. And so we'll see how that plays into the game. Now, I want to ask you real quick. Tell me a little bit about like NYCFC's, their strengths, their weaknesses. Where can they really hurt Atlanta, and where can Atlanta really hurt them?
Our strength right now is our youth, I guess. If you want to say it's hard. Like I'm one of the more realistic fans that we have, like within our sphere of people that create content. I don't see us really having like a defined strength. To be honest with you, we're still figuring it out. Like it's just new systems. Our lineup changes almost every week because of injuries. Like Ilinic is not supposed to start. That's Tavon Gray supposed to be there. And Ilinic is a great a right back going forward, but he's a liability on defense. Whereas Tavon is great on defense and just slightly more restricted going forward. But I would rather have him on defense. Our weaknesses is right. Sometimes we're not sharp. Like we're figuring it out. So our laps throughout the match. Like sometimes we'll have moments where we'll just kind of like just turn off. And if you have a player on the field that can react to that or spot that and take advantage of that, then we get burned on the counter, and then that's it. We're done. We don't necessarily have speed on the pitch. Like we have, and if like Ojeda in this lineup, Ojeda would be our fastest player. I think Lennox is also he can be pretty quick, but we're not relying on it. We move the ball. We're not against Columbus. Ironically, we're very route one, but ideally we like to just move the ball, but we don't finish. Final third, we don't finish. It was last year we joked around saying we would have been the number one team had we scored all our chances. Like the chances that were like obvious. Not like, you say like, oh, you shoot and it's a chance. Like,
Yeah.
Like if you go back and watch the replays and see like clear cut in front of goal, sometimes open net,
Point blank.
Point blank. Like
you don't understand how they miss it. Like it's harder to miss it than it is to score.
Exactly. Very like Wondolowski type of goals. Like those. If we would have just made those, we probably would have been first or second place in the East last year. But we don't finish. It's horrible. Sometimes our expected goals are like 3, and we don't score because of how many chances. We'll put the ball in the final third, but at that point it's like, all right, let it be.
Dude, expected goals is like a cursed word in Atlanta United circles, because it's like that's really the whole thing. The past few seasons, it's like, okay, we won the XG battle, but we lost like 4-1.
Yeah.
Well,
what can you do? Anything. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
It's frustrating.
To me, all XG just means what you should have done. It's almost like look. Like, you could have played better. I don't know. I think that's what it was made. I think it was just made for coaches to go, look, we could have played better.
So you could feel bad after the game.
Yeah, like that's literally it. That's why it exists, just for you to feel bad. It means nothing else. I think if you guys can find it, if you can nullify Maxi, I think you got us. If you can kill the midfield, I think Atlanta. I think we're in trouble if our midfield gets killed.
Okay.
'Cause-
Lockdown Maxi is the important part. He's the
Yeah.
engine.
Mhm.
All right, Yousef. So really quick, wrapping this up now. We do a score prediction challenge.
Mhm.
It's y'all, the guests on this show, are included. So it's the staff and y'all. Y'all were doing great up until this last week. Jackson from our staff overtook you guys. So you got to take the lead back here, man. So
Okay.
what do you think is going to be the score of this game?
Realistically, 2-1. We're not saying who's winning. We're just saying the score.
No, say who's winning. I need
All
that
right,
too.
gotcha. So I think it's gonna be 2-1, 2-1 us, and just because I think there's gonna be enough people on our side up for the match against Ronnie a little bit, just enough that it's gonna be like, I want to get this one over you. Just like that little bit of for some, I don't know. I'm just obviously speculating, but I think it's gonna be enough of a driver. So 2-1 us. It's gonna be
All right.
my prediction.
Speculation, that's what we're all about right now. That's all we can do right now. Of course, we all might be terribly wrong afterwards. Who knows?
Right.
All right. So you got any final thoughts for us before we get out of here?
I mean, I think it's gonna be a great match. Atlanta is a weird place for us. We don't really do well down there. I think our record is not that is horrible down there. But I hope it's a good match. I think we're gonna be up for it. I don't know if we're gonna have a good crowd down there, travel wise. We typically bring a good crowd to Atlanta, but you guys tend to be such a large number of people there that it don't matter. It gets drowned out one way or another. I think it's just gonna be a good moment, man. I really wish you guys had real grass. Really wish you guys had real grass. I think you guys could afford it. I think so as a club. I think, but other than that, I really hope you guys lose because I want to feel good with this team. I think we're good. We need early points because our stadium scenario front loads a lot of our home matches. So second half of the season we're on the road a lot, and you know how this goes with MLS. You don't really get points on the road like that. So anything we can grab early on when teams are still sort of figuring it out, it's a bonus for us. So hopefully we can get into that mindset.
Yeah, and Atlanta is kind of in a similar mindset because we have played a few home games already, and the front end of the schedule is very home heavy for Atlanta. And the Benz is a fortress, and so we want to really take full advantage of that, especially because in the summer we have like a 6-game away stretch, and it's against tough teams. It's like I think we have like Miami, and then we have I think it's like one of the LA teams, and then you got a whole bunch of like really, really tough teams.
Yeah.
So we want to try to get as many of those home results as we can, as soon as we can, especially because we want to turn things around and we want to feel better and not look at the table and see that we're 12th. That never feels good.
I know.
All right, bro. So where can people find you?
You can find me at _RICARTIST. So at _ Ricardis. But you can follow us at NYCFC Forever Pod, both on Twitter or X, however you want to call it, Instagram, and then YouTube, NYCFC Forever Podcast. So once a week, we kind of recap the weekend in our own little way. We don't really talk tactics like that. Just 3 guys from New York. We're friends that would like to sometimes be degenerates and talk about the sport. So, but we just fuck with NYC, and we like to. It's weird being an American soccer fan, but we hold the flag, so we're proud of it. But yeah, you can find us all there.
Awesome, bro. Well, Atlanta United versus NYCFC at 7:30 p.m. Saturday, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Be sure to check out our website, scarvesandspikes.com, for news, opinion, analysis, and more. Head over to the shop for some cool merch. I actually don't have any of it on, and that's probably not great, but we got hats, we got t-shirts, we have mugs, we have tons of really stuff. We have a t-shirt. Norwegians are awesome for Ronnie Dyla. Ronnie, hit us up. We'll get you one. And then finally, subscribe to our Patreon if you haven't already for access to exclusive content such as interview audio, bonus content, and the Discord where we have the most intellectual discussions on Atlanta United and occasionally Pirates. Don't ask me why. You'll have to join the Discord to find out. $1.17 a month. Come on through. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode of Across the Pitch. Yousef, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you for having me, man.